Moving on to Proverbs 6 through 8, and on through 11. This passage is one, it will be familiar to you, of course. It is emphasizing the value of hard work. Go to the ant, you sluggard. Consider its ways and be wise. It has no commander, no overseer or ruler, yet it stores its provisions in summer and gathers its food at harvest. How long will you lie there, you sluggard? When will you get up from your sleep? A little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come on you like a bandit, and scarcity like an armed man. I think that's a pretty cool proverb myself, or several verses. Anyway, and then Proverbs 24, 30 through 34. I went past the field of the sluggard, past the vineyard of the man who lacks judgment. Thorns had come up everywhere. The ground was covered with weeds, and the stone wall was in ruins. I applied my heart to what I observed and learned a lesson from what I saw. A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come on you like a bandit, and scarcity like an armed man. As a door turns on its hinges, so a sluggard turns on his bed. Some of those passages should have sounded very much like the one before. They are similar. And then, my favorite chemistry lesson from Proverbs, this is Proverbs 25, verse 20, and this confused me for quite a while. Like one who takes away a garment on a cold day, or like vinegar poured on soda, is one who sings songs to a heavy heart. Now, the message there, I think, is clear that, in fact, we should not be mirthful to try to uplift a person who is struggling. We should be helpful, but not mirthful. However, why this is a chemistry lesson is that in the King James, the passage says nitre, N-I-T-R-E, and nitre would not do much with vinegar. It would, of course, be ruined, but it wouldn't do much. But in point of fact, this version, the New International Version, has correctly translated this as soda, because what was nitre was being mined in Upper Egypt and was, in fact, soda ash. It's a carbonate, and when you pour vinegar on it, it froths up with CO2 bubbles. And so that's the mirthful. Being mirthful around one who's suffering is not productive. So with that, we will move to Psalm 127, in which Solomon acknowledges the giver of all things. Unless the Lord builds the house, its builders labor in vain. Unless the Lord watches over the city, the watchmen stand guard in vain. In vain you rise early and stay up late, toiling for food when he grants sleep to those he loves. So, with that, we move on to the Song of Solomon, or the Song of Songs. I believe Rick Cupp mentioned that both names are present in some versions. In ours, it's the Song of Songs. So, to begin with, I would just note to you that this is clearly a love song. It's a paean to physical love. It's an interesting documentation that physical love between a husband and wife is certainly honored by God. Our editor adds that it may be an allegory. Or I will read just a brief section of our editor's comments. Although the writing itself makes no reference to history, purpose, religion, sin, salvation, or even to God himself, many have seen in its celebration an allegory representing the love relationship between God and man. For many Jews, it presents God as the lover and the nation of Israel as the beloved. With the coming of the Messiah, it will be seen, and has been seen by us, by many, as an allegory of Christ and his church. Whatever else its purpose may serve, the Song of Songs expresses unrestricted joy in a relationship of love. So, historically, what is happening now? Solomon's wisdom is fading. He has begun marrying more foreign women so that he could more wisely, in his view at least, strengthen the kingdom, build the kingdom to larger boundaries. These women have engaged in idolatry, and Solomon appears to have fallen into that path also. And God's response to this, of course, predictably, is to raise up enemies around Israel. And God states to Solomon that only one tribe will be retained by his heirs, and that will only happen because of David's earlier righteousness. So with that, we are seeing the decline of the kingdom of Solomon. And next week, we will read about the meaning of life in Ecclesiastes. So we look forward to that, and I thank you for being with us for week 21. So you'll